Now recording.
GM, Foxes. Sorry for being late. Thanks for waiting for me. Just in another meeting that went long. How y'all doing today? Can you guys hear me?
We can. It's a quiet group, apparently.
Quiet group, and I don't wait a long time for pauses. I probably need to get better about that. So I'll ask again, then I'll do a better pause. How are you guys doing today? Oh man, this really is a quiet group.
Yeah, still crickets. Oh man.
If you feel free to submit how you're feeling into that anonymous form. While everyone joins today, we'll kick it off, and just want to welcome everybody to one of my favorite meetings of the week, the decentralized Ask Anyone Anything lunch. The purpose of this meeting is to provide a safe space, for our distributed community to come together and to ask anyone any question. And you're encouraged to eat lunch. You don't have to eat lunch. I'm not eating lunch, but it's a great way just to come together, enjoy some lunch together in the metaverse, and have a safe space to ask any questions about anything. And then anyone is welcome to chime in with an answer. That said, there's a form for submitting questions anonymously in the ShapeShiftDAO stage channel. I'll check that out. And while I check that out, would anyone like to ask a question publicly?
I don't have a question, but I really enjoyed the slang thing that you just did with C4.
Oh, thank you, Miss. I'm glad to hear that. I was wondering what people thought of that. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it. As long as you enjoyed it, then it was well worth it.
I learned a lot, and it was interesting, to hear you guys talk about. There are so many things, even though you're in the industry, there are things that you guys don't know either.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm glad that makes you feel better, and it's so true. I'm learning new stuff every day. I know even Eric Voorhees, who's been in the space about as long as anybody, he still admits that at this point, even there's new stuff that he hasn't heard about, and it's impossible for him to keep up. Just because, like Jess was saying, it's impossible. The pace of innovation at this point, there's more new projects being created every day than any individual could possibly stay up to speed with. So cool to recognize that and be self-aware, and hopefully that gives everybody some who is a bit newer some confidence that you're not alone. And the deeper you get into the space, the more you'll realize that you don't know. All right, we don't have any questions yet in the anonymous form. I guess that means everyone feels comfortable asking their questions publicly, but feel free to submit something there and we'll keep checking back. Want to open it up for questions, but I have an update for everybody. We just got off the workstream leadership call, and one of the big topics was this Angel Vault, which we've been working with the Ichi team to launch. There's been quite a few steps that we need to go through to launch that. We're almost ready, and the plan is to launch this Angel Vault tomorrow morning for the AMA that we have scheduled with Ichi on Twitter Spaces. So heads up to all the different work streams. If you haven't heard yet from your workstream leader, you will probably be getting word soon that we need to prepare to launch this. It's not 100% guaranteed because, again, there's a few things we need to do. We need to get some multi-sig signers to come together to execute transactions to launch this and to not just launch and fund the initial $2 million of liquidity for the Angel Vault, but also launch and fund the farming program, which will start 48 hours after the Angel Vault launches. So again, not 100% guarantee, but our goal is to launch this tomorrow morning. If we don't get it out tomorrow morning for any reason, I'm pretty optimistic that we'll at least be able to launch it sometime tomorrow. So yeah, look forward to this Angel Vault. Any questions about that? Who's excited for this Angel Vault? Who's planning to deposit some one fox?
I am.
This guy.
This guy. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. It's great. If you've got stable coins as well as some fox sitting around, it's a great way to take those stables and fox and earn yield on them. And also, yeah, just from the zero in research, not financial advice, but so far the other Angel Vaults, you can see how they performed on Ichi's website. Most of them have a ROI of over 100% just in rewards, but also that doesn't even take into account the gains that people have made just on their liquidity pool position. And I think for all of these vaults, I don't want to say for all these vaults, definitely for some of these vaults, the majority of the return has not even been that return from rewards, but just from the value of the liquidity deposit increasing. Just posted the link for where you can check that out and where you'll be able to stake your LP tokens once the farming program once the vault is live. And we're also going to add a road to the Fox farming UI that points people to the Ichi UI.
Where did you post that link, Willie?
Just posted it in the ShapeShift DAO stage chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
also, go ahead.
I'll just say to participate tomorrow or whenever it does go live, we're just going to be depositing one fox into the Angel Vault. It's just one-sided.
Exactly. You just deposit one fox to the Angel Vault, but when you withdraw, you actually will get a mixture of one fox and fox when you withdraw. The target for that ratio is to be like, I think 15% is like that target ratio for what you'll get when you withdraw. But yeah, it was specifically regulatory reasons that they chose to not give you back the one fox. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't completely understand what the logic is there, but I trust that they did some diligence to come to that conclusion. So that's an important distinction. Thanks for asking that. Another cool thing to note is that now that there's one fox liquidity on Uniswap v3, you can also just trade any asset for one fox, and that will probably save you gas costs. It'll probably be cheaper for you to do that than to mint one fox with fox and USDC. You can just go to Uniswap or any of the DEX aggregators or ShapeShift. You can go to ShapeShift and trade fox for one fox, or any asset for one fox. All right, who's got questions? Anything's on the table. Questions related to the DAO or to crypto are typically better and more relevant, but anything's game.
Did you see ETH is up like 10% right now? It's pretty cool.
Let's
take it.
I get so heads down sometimes. I barely have time to check the charts, but thank you for letting me know about that. I love to see it. Congrats to anybody who bought the dip.
Yeah, let's take it back over 3K. Cool with that.
I'd be down, especially right before ETH Denver and right before this ETH merge. I think it's hard for me to imagine, the ETH merge not being a huge catalyst and like happening in the middle of a bear market. Like that is such a monumental evolution for one of the most important blockchains that it's really hard for me. And some fun alpha. Right now you can stake your ETH to a validator and earn, I think it's like 5% yield. When the merge happens, then the fees that are currently getting paid to proof of work miners are going to go to validators, and that's going to increase the yield for staking ETH. Who knows how much it'll go up to? I think there's been some estimates that it'll be over 20%, and that's pretty compelling if you can just earn 20% yield on a asset by staking it natively on the protocol level. There's not even smart contract risk. There's just blockchain network risk. And that could encourage a lot of people to buy up some ETH and stake it, which could then decrease the supply even further, circulating supply even further. So I'm bullish still. I haven't given up hope that we're still in a bull market, and this is just a temporary dip. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
82K, bro. Not financial advice, though.
I put some stuff into various things last night, so.
Nice. Would you put stuff into, Giant Ken, if you don't mind us asking?
It might have been Fox, ETH, and what was my third? Something else. I don't remember now.
A true Degen. And you remind me of myself, Giant Ken. You're like, what token? I had that recently. I'm like, what tokens did I buy last week? Trying to tell somebody.
Now I gotta look.
I used to do with ShapeShift all the time. Like whenever ShapeShift would add like a new coin, I'd just like ape into it randomly and like throw it in a hardware wallet or something. But like
Same here, huh?
Well, I did have to
like,
play
so
on
was like a
Coinbase, so I had to do a little bit of Coinbase to test out the Fox thing there, and there wasn't a lot of Fox. I bought it all.
Good man. Yeah, there's more liquidity for Fox on DEXs than Coinbase. I guess a big part of that is probably the liquidity farming program we're doing.
Yeah, it was weird. A lot of people have it like one. They're either buying one or selling one. It's like, what? I need a couple thousand here. What are you doing? So if you saw that spike last night, that was me.
It is fun, yeah, when there's not a lot of liquidity on these centralized exchanges where you can just do a small trade and move the price. I used to have fun doing that. Yeah,
a 2-cent jump because of me. It was awesome.
Yeah, it makes you feel strong. That powerful.
Yeah, dude, I miss being able to do that with like ETH back in the day on like Coinbase Pro when it first like started.
Yeah, my ETH, you didn't notice. It was not even a blip. It's like, what? Holy crap! I spent how much just now, and there was no notice.
It's cool, and I like to imagine people around the world watching that chart. And I used to love when you could just do like a one token trade or like a very small trade to flip a candle from like red to green. I used to like doing those ones. I'm like, just make that candle green. All right, feel free to bring up any questions at any point if anything pops in anyone's head. Otherwise, I'm going to start just going down the list and maybe calling on some people that I know are working on cool stuff to have them give updates to everyone else. And Ocean, you're at the top of my. Oh, I'll pause. Miss. Yeah. What's up?
Well, you guys are talking about like you get into all these tokens and things and then you can't remember what's where and all this stuff. How in the heck are you keeping track of it? Like, are you just going through and looking at all your wallets to figure out what in the heck you got into? Or do you have like a wash only wallet that you're keeping track of things?
Yeah. Go ahead, Hunt.
I was gonna hire Ron like pretty soon because I have like a storage unit.
I just open up the wallets that I use and go, oh, that's what I bought. Oh, what the hell do I get that for?
I just do that Etherscan. Just watch Etherscan.
Smart.
Yeah, I have like a few main wallets that I watch on Zapper, and then like the 2022, I'm trying to have like systems where on Fridays I do my accounting and I just have a spreadsheet that I go fill in all my balances on, and it's already really unruly. There's like 30 columns and 20 rows and stuff like that, but that's what I'm trying to get better at.
I really hope it's a problem that we can help solve, because like I'm using spreadsheets too, and Zapper's probably done the best job so far of like just integrating so many protocols and so many different assets, but they still don't have everything, and they're still just Ethereum only. So yeah, I don't know right now. There is not a single place that someone like me can go to and plug in my wallet and get a comprehensive view of all the different. The idea that any protocol can just come add themselves to ShapeShift. That's probably at the rate that things are developing. That could be, the only way to stay up to speed with everything is just have an open source app where it's easy for projects to come add themselves and build the network effects where it's just a no-brainer for them. It's obviously one of the top things for them to prioritize in their own roadmap is to integrate with ShapeShift because that's where all the users are. Great question, Miss. Hopefully that answers. If not, feel free to ask a follow-up question. Ocean, sorry to put you on the spot, but you are at the top of my list. I'd love to ask you for an update on Foxy, because I know a lot of us are excited about that. And then Neverless, I saw you unmute afterwards. We'll pass to you, Neverless.
Yeah, Foxy. So Toshi's doing great work over there, moving that along. There's, as is probably the typical for any development effort, when you're building something that's brand new, there's been some complications, which I think we all anticipated, and we've worked through a couple different possible solutions to deal with them. They mainly kind of revolve around the cycles with Tokamak and how we can batch our deposits and withdrawals as a collective group of Foxy stakers in a way that would actually operate with the Tokamak protocol. And so, but it's going well. It's been really fun just to kind of help Toshi through those, and I really enjoy kind of developing smart contract protocols because they're kind of a unique problem to solve, and so it's pretty fun from an engineering standpoint. So overall, though, good progress, and pretty excited to see that in production as soon as possible. I'd love to be using it.
Yeah, thanks for the great update. Super excited for it, and it seems like watching from the sidelines, it seems like you guys are making really good progress, and it's been awesome to see the coordination between you and Toshi and product team and Beard and John. Just it's been going really well. So thanks for the update.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of a tangential but similar topic is that there eventually will need to be a community-based proposal that would talk about the swap of the toke that is harvested in response or in exchange for more Fox that would go to the Foxy stakers. So that's something that I'm going to probably start drafting next week to get in front of the community and get feedback on. I'll just keep an eye out for that. Anyone that's interested, and would love the feedback once I do get that posted up.
Thanks, Ocean. Looking forward to that proposal. All right. Nevertheless, you had unmuted. Is there something you wanted to ask or say?
Oh, I was just going to comment to what Miss was saying. New whales don't care about where you put your money. It's just, as long as it's making money for you and you go back to it someday and see it, you'll be surprised and pleasantly surprised, most likely. I was just joking.
No, I hope that's the case. That's definitely the case for me. That I'm hopeful that eventually, even if the stuff's not supported by Zapper or ShapeShift yet, eventually it will be. And so I don't necessarily have to keep a spreadsheet because one day I'll be able to find this stuff. Hey, Darwin, I'm not sure if you've introduced yourself on one of these calls yet, but if you're available, would love for you to just say hi and introduce yourself to the community.
Hi, I'm Darwin. Not much to say. I'm just.
Is it possible to get a little closer to your mic too? It's pretty quiet.
Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Darwin. Still part of the centralized ShapeShift, and having fun listening to all these talks and how you guys track your crypto in Excel. That is Google Sheet. That is amazing.
That's right. If Ron gets fully booked out with requests to help track all this stuff in spreadsheets, Darwin is another great spreadsheet wizard. And Darwin, I'm so excited. Darwin's been pretty busy. He's one of the final employees at centralized ShapeShift, helping to wind everything down because he is an amazing accountant and finance spreadsheet wizard and auditor, and just has a great understanding of the inner workings of centralized ShapeShift. But I know he's very interested in making the jump to the DAO once he has some more bandwidth, because I know it's been a lot of work over at centralized ShapeShift. So, Darwin, I mentioned to workstream leaders earlier that if anyone has any kind of spreadsheet or financial needs that I mentioned, I hope it's okay. I said reach out to Darwin because I know he's interested in getting involved.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know. I'm happy to help. Little by little, we're winding down the centralized, like corporate. So at some point, I will have more time. So yeah, happy to help.
Thanks, Darwin. All right. No questions have been submitted anonymously to the forum. We'll pause to see if any questions have popped in anyone's head that they want to bring up.
I've got a couple things.
Take it away,
Marley. Yeah. I was just going to. It's on my to-do list to kind of write like a form, just like check-in post, like a lot of the other work streams are writing like quarterly statements and stuff. And so just a couple of things I thought I'd spitball before I type up, because that's a lot more work. I'm trying to find my list now. Yeah, like, so on the two Cosmos Osmos validators, one is called ShapeShift and one is called ShapeShift DAO. I think ShapeShift DAO is more appropriate, but I kind of wanted to like get a feel for the room, what people think for like the title of the validator. Any thoughts on that? It's a pretty minor thing, but I care.
Yeah, I like ShapeShift DAO much better than just ShapeShift.
I agree. I agree with Darwin. Like, I like ShapeShift DAO.
Cool. Yeah.
If you guys like ShapeShiftDAO too, I do remember hearing a legal opinion, and don't quote me on it because I'm not a lawyer, but it was along the lines of that we can use Shapeshift when referring to the products, like Shapeshift is the name of the products. But if we're talking about something that the DAO is doing, then try and use Shapeshift DAO wherever we can, because really it is Shapeshift DAO who is like executing and leading these efforts.
Yeah, I kind of remember that as well, and that was part of it. I think the Cosmos one, I mean, it's been a few months now, so I feel like a lot has changed as always. And so I started the osmosis on ShapeShift DAO, so that's something I can try to update this week when I go do reward claiming. And then I guess two other points on this is like, currently I'm doing rewards once a month on Cosmos. And I think I want to move to every other week, because it just is not financial advice and not how I want everyone to think about it, but I think of the validator's revenue as dollar cost averaging out of the asset. So every day, every minute, every block, it's making an atom or something like that. And the more often you move it to UST and send it to the Gnosis safe, is like dollar cost averaging out of a position, essentially. And so just to capture more of that on a regular basis and catch more of the highs and lows, like Adam's got to 40 something and now it's at 35. And so there's just a little bit of premium is there. And on like a large enough time frame, it should all kind of flatten out. It's fine. But it also is, I don't want it to get to the point where there's like more than 100,000 US dollars sitting in a wallet waiting to be claimed. So I was just going to try to, I actually thought I put this in the proposal that it was going to be monthly, but it wasn't. So it's kind of just however I'm deciding to do it, but trying to get a little more feedback if I'm going to make a change like that. Money more often is probably going to be well received, I guess. So I don't know, just something I've been thinking about. And then I don't think is Nerd Hair here, Mr. Nerd Hair. No, that's too bad. The last point I wanted to try to get fixed is the icon on Kepler. So you can actually see the little fox icon on the validator list. I need a Keybase account for a ShapeShift email, which I don't have and don't want. So I need someone, I think it makes sense for security to create a ShapeShift Keybase account so I can point it towards that, because that's where it actually pulls the little thumbnail image is from whatever Keybase account is listed as it's a field in the validator thing. So yeah, I guess that's all I had. I guess that's more retelling, but I really would love any feedback if anyone has it.
For the Cosmos, for the rewards, I will say like the often the better. And I think we had this conversation in the past that tracking your rewards for Cosmos, like for any atoms that you receive, is kind of weird because there is no like an actual on-chain information that you can use to track your actual rewards. So yeah, it is much better climbing like more often than leaving that for every month or whatever you are doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that helps. I mean, that's good feedback. It is really weird. I totally agree. Because it's, yeah, and so I'm trying to take the approach that as long as I have a method, I can account it that way. So my standard operating procedure is like every Friday or something like that. As long as I use that consistently, I can use that as my accounting method. But the more often, the better. Definitely makes sense. I did find a new website recently, Darwin, you'd be interested in, stake.tax. You can plug in I haven't used, this was in some random Telegram group, so like use at your own risk, but you can plug in a address and it'll spit out a daily CSV with your rewards and stuff, which has been a huge issue for Cosmos for a while because it's a very unique accounting situation where you're getting rewards every block and stuff like that. But this seems like a good tool you can get a little better at. So, but thanks, Darwin.
Thank you, Marley. These are some awesome revenue streams, and yeah, I think the DAO would be happy to get paid every 2 weeks, opposed to every month. And look forward to just seeing more of these validators get launched and managed by Taxi Stake, and really looking forward to seeing how much we can get staked to the ShapeShift validator once we have support for staking and for these Cosmos assets in ShapeShift v2. It's gonna be awesome. All right, any other questions or topics anyone wants to bring up? All right, I'm gonna keep going down the list. David OG Fox, welcome.
Oh yeah, that's the new new icon or avatar. I felt I needed to start to fit in a little better. Just enjoyed the conversation this morning that you did, Willie, with Jess and the other chap from C4. I learned a lot about where things come from with Ethereum, and so my learning curve is starting to pick up, and I'm really appreciative of that.
Awesome, really glad to hear that. Yeah, that was a great call from Jess. I didn't, I was going into it. I'm like, what are we going to talk about today? We got GM, we got WAGME, but like, are there enough acronyms to keep us busy for an hour? And sure enough, once we got into it, it was like there is really interesting history with just like where these slang terms came from. And it was so funny how we'd be like describing a slang term, and then we'd use some other slang term like ape or DeFi or DYOR or something, and then it would take us on another tangent. So yeah, I thought that was really fascinating too, and it was fun to just look back and at all the slang that we picked up over the years and how this slang has just kind of organically materialized and proliferated is really fascinating. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and if anyone else is interested, if you guys missed that, I think there'll be a recording posted here soon, or there's one in the general chat. It was all recorded if you want to go back. Yeah, great way to prepare for ETH Denver. Make sure you're brushed up on all of the slang. Just mentioned ETH Denver. Does anyone have any questions or topics about ETH Denver they want to bring up?
Oh, there's that Notion page of potential questions. Anything that comes to mind that could be asked at a booth that someone might, like, we all don't have all the answers to everything, so there was the idea to consolidate it. Sorry, I'm getting close to my microphone. Just like a cheat sheet of, anybody could come to the booth and be like, what is ShapeShift, right? Like, that's easy enough. And then you'll get somebody that's like, tell me about FoxChain, or tell me about SFox, Foxy. So I think having an answer for a lot of these questions in the voice, answered by the subject matter expert that could, correctly answer it, I think will be good for those that are going to be heading up the booth and standing there and fielding questions and stuff. And Miss had made that page, and I'm looking for the link.
I got the link. Just posted it in stage. Thanks for bringing that up, Gray Machine, and thanks for creating this this doc, Miss. And yeah, like Gray Machine said, there's a few questions that haven't been posted in there yet. No answers. I'd like to find some time to drop answers in there, but I need more time in the day. So if anyone else has answers, especially anyone who might have booth experience or just anyone who is intimately familiar with ShapeShift, dive in there. But also you'll see there's questions that I think anyone on this call could probably answer. So
what is the general, because this is like, I've been to plenty of conferences, but I've never been to like a crypto blockchain, whatever you want to call it, conference. What is the general level of understanding? Is it like, because I'll go to, you know, whatever, like video nerd convention, and you'll like the 50% are probably just like, I don't know anything about anything, and they're asking very, very basic questions. And then you'll get the occasional person that's asking very advanced questions. What is the general average person that walks up to a booth to ask questions level of understanding?
I think ETH Denver is pretty advanced. At least the ones I've been to all of them. And it's really focused on as a hackathon. So like people are there to go, they're engineers and they're there to build. So it's usually pretty advanced, I'd say. And some of the talks are like pretty introductory, but some are like, this is this one function. Here's an hour on this one function on the Solidity call. So they get really, really technical. So yeah, and I think it's kind of gone more mainstream. If anything, there's more like there's like the games and stuff are less so hardcore technical, but like it's pretty advanced from what I've seen. What are your thoughts, Willie?
Well said, Marley. Yeah, I think one interesting thing too with crypto conferences is that they're seasonal, and the level of knowledge or sophistication kind of correlates with the markets. So in a bull market, or they're inversely correlated. So in a bull market, you tend to have more newcomers who are just coming into the space and might be very green. But in the bear market, you definitely have much more builders, people who have some level of understanding, and typically they're working in the space. I do think ETH Denver, like you're saying, over the years, it's gotten more, it's grown more mainstream. And I do think this year they're going to have a lot of these introductory talks, as well as like the expert talks. You can really kind of like, they're going to have something for everybody. One cool thing about the Ethereum community for sure is that they're all very welcoming and supportive and inclusive. So I think we're all just happy to have friends there, basically, and have people who are, you know, interested in the same thing that we're interested in. And definitely, yeah, I think the Ethereum community in particular is like one of the most inclusive, welcoming communities in the world, and definitely relative to other blockchains. But just I'm not aware of a more inclusive community. So it can be a little. We talked about this on the Slang call. It can definitely be a little unnerving if it's your first conference and if you don't have years of experience yet in crypto. But just know that everybody you meet there's no dumb questions. They're going to be happy. You know, if you hear a term you don't understand, feel free to ask questions, and you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to make a lot of friends. So I want to make that clear. Anyone else have any takes or thoughts on that? I remember my first Ethereum conference was like a life-changing experience for me, and I will never forget just like seeing a room full of brilliant developers staying up all night hacking on like some of the coolest projects I could possibly imagine. And like that gave me so much conviction in the space, because I'm like, you can't compete with just this growing community of brilliant developers, like with lots of funding. It's like they're gonna build cool shit. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And yeah, it's like they're hacking over the weekend. I tried to imagine, I'm like, you know, some of the biggest corporations, IBM, Microsoft, do they have this many developers like working on something over the weekend? Definitely not this passionately.
Yeah, my introductory was really the first ETH Denver into crypto. I was just getting like obsessed in the first market run up in like 2017. And I was like, I'm going to go get involved, and made my way to ETH Denver and won a bounty actually on my first hackathon. And it was like 3 to 6 months later, I got my job at ShapeShift. So it was really like a jumping off point for me.
That's awesome, Marley. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was what was your first hackathon project that you did?
Oh yeah, it was super cool. I was very fresh. I was like a IT guy, but I got on a team with some Java engineers, and they wrote like a video streaming smart contract. So if you started watching like a podcast or a video or something, like a comedy show is good. And it was like $100 for the entire thing. If you cut it off halfway through, it would refund the other half of the unwatched contract. And it was like working POC mode. It was pretty cool. But like, I mean, it was very rough, and we won a storage, like a STORJ bounty and stuff like that. So it was very, very cool. I had no idea what was going on code wise at the time, but it was neat.
Oh, that's so cool. I love storage too. They were one, just like Hunt was saying earlier, they were one that I probably discovered through ShapeShift and just aped into because it was like I found on ShapeShift and I could buy it with my keep key, and I looked it up. I'm like, oh, this seems cool. And yeah, I remember at my first Ethereum conference, DevCon 2018, meeting the storage team and getting a cool t-shirt and swag from them. And that is another one of my favorite things about this conference is that a lot of these teams and the products that we use, they're going to be there, and you're going to be able to just, go introduce yourself and say, hey, I love using your product, and have you guys thought about this? And can I have a t-shirt? And you're going to get some cool swag and make some cool friends, and maybe build some cool DAO-to-DAO relationships. I'm really excited to have just like such a deep rolling community out there representing ShapeShift, and can't wait to see all the cool things that are going to come out of this conference. It's going to be lit. And sorry, apologies to anyone who's not going to be able to make it this year. I don't mean to make you feel the FOMO, but hopefully we'll get you out here next year for another event later this year. All right. Moving down. ETH Cleveland. Hey, if that ever happens, GK, I'll come.
I know a perfect venue. It holds like 100,000 people.
Rock Hall. Is ETH Denver kind of like the big US ETH event, or one of the, like, where does it rank? It feels like it's this sort of like one of the big ones, or is it?
Might be one of the bigger hackathons. I think there's bigger like conferences like Consensus and stuff like that. But I don't know. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah. Not the biggest crypto conference, arguably the biggest Ethereum conference / hackathon. I know there's some debate about this, and I'm not sure. I think DevCon, I don't know. DevCon hasn't happened in a couple of years, so the current ETH Denver might be bigger than the last DevCon was, but then the next DevCon might be bigger. We'll see. But definitely for like US conferences and stuff, DevCon tends to not be in the United States because they like to be in international locations that more of an international audience can make it to. But yeah, definitely, if ETH Denver is not number one, I think it's number two. Definitely of the events that I've been to. And part of that is because, yeah, the ETH Denver community, co-founded by Kent, our tokenomics workstream leader, was one of the first like official or unofficial Ethereum communities to be built. I guess RL Ethereum communities to be built. It's going to be a blast. It's a really cool venue too. All right, I feel bad for those who can't make it, so I'm going to stop shilling it. All right, I'm gonna, unless anyone has any questions or topics they want to bring up, I will move down the list and put Fox McCloud on the spot. Fox McCloud, how are you liking your new life as a project manager? What are you working on that you're excited about?
Hey guys, loving it. DAO life is great. So I'm just munching on some Chick-fil-A as we speak, which is also great. I am the big meeting I've been excited for this week, which unfortunately keeps getting rescheduled because DeFi Cafe's been a little sick, so hopefully he gets better soon. But once he gets better, we're going to have a nice little roadmap kickoff meeting between engineering and product, and get a little bit more aligned and talk about some really exciting integrations we have coming up and how we're going to get them all done. And so yeah, looking forward to that. And then of course building specs out for all these new integrations. So the next few months should be super, super busy and should yield some real nice results. But yeah, loving it.
And crushing it. Fox McCloud, does the community, do they know your background?
I don't know. I was with centralized ShapeShift about 3.5 years until obviously we transitioned to the DAO. Before that, I was working for Tesla selling cars. I'm also very excited for Tesla's earning call in a couple hours. Not sure if any of you guys have a Cybertruck waitlisted, but Elon should be announcing a much more concrete plan, release schedule, things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I was working for Tesla selling cars. And back in the last bull run, a bunch of like teenagers and really younger adults were coming in and buying these $100,000 cars with cash. And I asked every single one of them, how the hell are you doing this? How can you afford this? You know, I want to teach me. And every single answer was Bitcoin. Just like 10 sales in a row was like Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. I'm like, I got to start learning about this stuff. And yeah, the rest is history. So yeah, big fan of Bitcoin, big fan of Tesla. That pretty much sums me up.
That's awesome, Fox McCloud. And yeah, I just want to throw some appreciation your way because you've just been crushing it in this new role. But Fox is one that the product team, we wanted to poach him from the support team for a while. But I think the biggest thing that held us back was just that he was such a vital member and leader for the support department that it was hard for us to steal him away. So finally, with the transition to the DAO, we were able to poach him, and couldn't be happier to have you on board.
Appreciate you, Willie. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. Giant Ken, how's mod life? How would you say that we're doing on our server and our other platforms?
I didn't expect to be on the spot. I already talked.
Sorry to put you on the spot, sir.
I don't know. It seems like recently a lot more trying to help desk people. I don't know why they're trying to fake their way in recently a lot, but you know, they don't stay long.
To clarify, when you say help desk people, you mean non-actual help desk people who have help desk in their username.
Yeah, the fake supports, the fake help, the fake admins, the fake. We even had a Tyler wannabe fake Tyler come in. So,
jeez, yeah, these attackers never quit, and it's cool. I know we don't all have the insight into what's going on behind the scenes to keep us safe. So glad that you're on top of it, Giant Ken.
What's this new Fox bot that we all are seeing in here?
Probably one of these help desk scammers trying to lay low.
Me6. It's our version of Me6.
Nice. Did you make that?
Well, yeah. It's just the Discord custom bot system, and then you plug in Me6. It's pretty simple that way. It turns out you can only do 10 total at a time, so I'm already up to 4.
Simple for you, maybe.
Right, and then the bond bots, it takes up 1 for that. So I don't know if anybody notices the new bond bots on the side there. There's 2 of them. I rearranged them, you know.
Nice. That's awesome. So we got 6 more bots, and then at that point we might have to figure out a creative solution.
Then I'll have to use my alt accounts. And so.
Nice. I see that new bond bot. That's awesome. All right, we got 1.5% and 2% discount for the bonds. Get them while they're hot.
I'd watch the ones at a premium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the USDC. Somebody
earlier
it was 2 or 3% up, and then I watched it drop and then drop again. Both of them actually, they dropped, and then they keep refilling.
Yes, good call. I like how you color coded this.
I'm blind. Where are these bond bots?
If you go to Discord help, I'm right there. General, go to general chat. Under the admins, I can't get rid of them. It says bot, and there's 3 bots listed. Everybody else is. I took away all the other hoisted.
Yeah, you have to be showing member list, and it has to be like a pretty big channel, like general. That.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't put them in every room. I added them in general. A couple others, I don't remember. So if you see in a room that you want that, just let me know and I'll put it in there.
Oh, this is awesome.
Also, the gas tracker. It's not perfectly because it's I think it's every 2 minutes it updates or something like that. I don't know, but somewhere around 200 right now.
Nice, love that. Thanks, GK. Awesome bots.
Had
All
to play
right.
Autobots. And I did drop in the stage chat a link to the Spire Institute, so, for that East Cleveland thing. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We've already got the venue selected. I was checking it out. Looks cool. Looks like they got some like basketball courts and stuff. So
Yeah, it's a sports center, but one of the past presidents had their pre-presidential thing there, and the place was packed, of course, but the place is huge.
it was bigger. It was bigger when Trump went. Yeah, bigger crowd. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say
Just joking. Just joking. Yeah.
It was him. Freaking chaos. I'm across the street, the highway, and I had cars parked along the road. The highway here. It's like, what the hell? The highway was. People were parking on the highway. It was nuts.
Wow. We've done a pretty good job keeping politics out of DAO communications so far, by the way.
Until now.
Until now. Sorry, I blew it, you guys. Jinxed it. All right, let's change the subject. Does anyone have a question or topic they would like to bring up? Pause.
Hey, moving on. Ron had posted, excuse me, Ron had posted thoughts on what kinds of opportunities we should be looking for to partner with for ShapeShift, or is it kind of open-ended as long as they fit in the ethos?
It's a great question. I think a way to think about it is, pretty broadly, in that most, at the end of the day, what ShapeShift is building is that we want to be the bridge between users and all of the crypto applications on all of the chains. I say all. When I say all, I don't necessarily mean all, but let's use the 80-20 rule, right? So the top protocols that will capture 80% of the things that crypto users try to care about. Look through that lens, and probably any project that you're talking to, if they provide a service that crypto users are interested in, then it's probably that we got a lot of crypto users and we want to give them access to all the interesting crypto services. So just about any project that you talk to, there's probably some path for integration. Something to be careful about is just like hedging expectations and being transparent and letting them know that we're in the relatively early stages of the DAO. So we have this roadmap, we have this vision, but we're not quite ready right now for every project to come integrate themselves immediately. But we can start those conversations. Those projects can help push it forward themselves. We're fully open source. We're a DAO, so they can come make proposals. They can come make pull requests. And definitely, if they have developers that they're willing to allocate to an integration, our developers are happy to support them. And those are the types of integrations and partnerships that we can move faster on. If the entire development effort would be on ShapeShift, then it's just something that needs to go through our typical product prioritization process. And we've got a lot of important priorities to focus on. So just setting those expectations that the fastest way to get it done is for their development team to work with ours. Does that answer Miss or Ron, or does anyone else have anything they want to add to that?
I guess I would just question if there are people who are interested. Obviously, I'm not going to be the contact person. What's the best way to get them? Like, what's the best general, hey, reach out here?
It's a great question. And on that note, I think we probably need a partnerships work stream at some point to handle this. In the meantime, in lieu of that, feel free to, connect them to the relevant work stream leader, or just invite them into the Discord, get a partner channel going with them. Try and, if you don't want to take the intro yourself, just hand it off to somebody or to some work stream. I'm always available, but my calendar is filling up a lot. So ideally, I'm always trying to delegate whatever I can to other community members. And yeah, let's just ask right now on the call: is there anybody who's interested in contributing further than they currently are, or interested in maybe helping out with these partnership conversations?
I'm happy willing. I'd be interested.
Awesome. That's awesome, Professor McCarthy. So yeah, you guys heard it here. Professor McCarthy, I'll definitely try and send some cool projects your way. And I would really appreciate any of your help. Yeah, doing diligence and pointing in the right direction.
Absolutely.
David, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I don't have the technical chops for a lot of it, but I definitely am interested in helping out where I can.
Awesome, much appreciated. And yeah, I guess now that I'm saying all this too, I think the growth workstream, this is part of what they're hoping to focus on too. So can always connect them just to the growth workstream. And if we start getting so many inbound requests that the growth workstream can't handle it, then maybe the growth workstream can work on building out our partnership bandwidth, bringing on more contributors.
Willie, I also just wanted to ask real quick, how would I go about if there's a feature that I'd like to see in ShapeShift? How would I go about introducing that or starting that discussion? So, for instance, in some other wallets, that are where you cannot recover the password, after so many times that you've logged in, or if you haven't logged in for so long, it'll ask you and say, "Hey, do you remember your password? What is it?" And it'll kind of let you check. Because one of the things I noticed with the ShapeShift is when it updated, it logged me out. And so I had to re-log in, and it took me a bit to, find that in my LastPass and everything like that. And so, for people that aren't as organized in terms of passwords, that might be a good idea, or people that don't want to trust LastPass has them here. So maybe having something that's a reminder kind of pop up so many times, or every so many months, every so many weeks.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And so to answer your question, or like, how do we share those ideas? I think a great way is just to take them to the product work stream and post your idea there, give them some information. We also have these product office hours every 2 weeks too. So super low effort way where you can kind of pitch an idea just like this and get feedback on it. Yeah. And furthermore, those are, I think those are probably the recommended ways. Of course, anyone is welcome to like make a pull request and stuff, but and just like goes right into the code base and make changes. But if you want to have confidence that your code is going to get merged, best to talk with the product and or engineering team work streams before and share your idea with them. But yeah, and on that note, it's much easier for us to, if it comes down to something that the core engineering work stream is going to do, then the product and engineering work stream have this process where we prioritize it. We do a community call with the community to hear anyone else's thoughts on and feedback on the proposed roadmap. And then we actually put a proposal to governance and ratify it. And that's kind of what we commit to focusing on. Although it is a flexible roadmap, and ultimately token holders right now have kind of delegated the responsibility of prioritizing that roadmap and being agile and deciding what should we work on, what gets merged, what gets released to users, to the product and the engineering work streams.
Hey,
Yeah, go ahead.
So did centralized ShapeShift have a formalized feature request process? Like if a customer calls into support, they're like, because a lot of times those calls turn into feature requests. Like, does it do this? No, it doesn't do that. Can I request that it does that? And then support's like, yeah, sure, I'll send that on, right? Like that kind of thing. Was that usually like an email to product, or was there a more formalized like submit a feature request in Jira or?
I think we had a web form. It was essentially a Google sheet, for what I remember.
We had this we used HelloNext for it. I'll post the link in the stage chat if anyone wants to check it out.
I guess what I'm leading to is, do you think we need a more formalized feature request process now beyond reach out to somebody in product?
I mean, I'll jump in here a little bit before Willie. I know you have. I'm sure you have a response as well. I mean, I know there was the incubation channel in Discord that's kind of used to kind of float ideas and incubate possible proposals and ideas for the DAO to look into. That might be, one place where things like that could happen. But at the same time, I don't know if, it's really like the best interest for us to, as a DAO, be, I don't know, pushing, I know we oversee like the so-called product. And I know I did a post about this before, and I really see the DAO as like the product and all the things the DAO can provide as the ancillary values and offshoots and stuff like that, versus like, okay, we are a wallet, we are this multi-connecting point that gives people access. I think that's just like an offshoot of what the DAO can provide. And I don't know if we should focus too much on, you know, that process of, okay, we're here to add features to a product versus just providing opportunity to the DAO in general. And I think that, you know, as these proposals come up and things get vetted out through the DAO and the community members, that is probably the process versus just going to like product and saying, hey, I'd like to see, you know, this be the next thing that we do. I don't know if that is kind of cutting out the community in some of those choices and leaving it more up to a work stream to make those decisions. And that might be a direction that we as a DAO want to go. But I just want to put that out there, that that's kind of like a very linear type process that, you know, it has a lot of ramifications from an old corporate world type mentality that, you know, product introduces the changes and that's the roadmap and that's what happens, versus like maybe a DAO where, you know, the community is a little bit more involved with kind of making steering decisions to how it affects and impacts the, you know, the overall community and so forth.
Yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from there. Never was, and I think it's a good balance, right? We certainly want to get as much feedback and ideas as we can from our awesome community. That's one of the biggest superpowers we have as a DAO, is a huge, diverse community invested in the success of the product. So we certainly want to have avenues for people to share this feedback. Great Machine, I posted this other forum that this is what we linked to from app.shapeshift.com, and it's a Notion forum, and it feeds into a Notion doc that product workstream has access to. So yeah, and I forgot about that when you had asked for customer cards. So you can also just submit the idea there. Product, we probably need to get into a better routine of like reviewing those regularly. But yeah, we do have these pathways. But I totally hear what you're saying, where you're coming from, Neverwheless, and I think that's the balance. Is we want to be able to collect all these ideas and hear these ideas, but ultimately, right now, we are entrusting the product workstream to kind of prioritize this roadmap, and the engineering workstream to decide what code gets merged, and then the product workstream to decide when do these features actually get enabled and released to users, with support from the other work streams and with, you know, also feedback from the community on all these pieces. But I do think that, and I can give an example right now with the feature that Professor McCarthy mentioned. There's all sorts of that would be a useful feature, right? I don't think any of us think that that's a feature that shouldn't be added. But one of the toughest parts too is just prioritization for a product work stream and for a product manager and just for a product company. Is in a world where there's all this cool stuff to build, what do we prioritize? And I think that's an example of one that specifically also it's in the legacy app that we're moving away from. We're moving away from passwords as quickly as we can. And so that, I imagine if we took that to the product work stream, their feedback might be, yes, it's nice to have. If it was in the open source app, we'd make a bounty for that and put it out there. But because it's in the closed source legacy ShapeShift app that we're moving away from, that is probably the type of thing that we will not choose to prioritize for that reason. Just to give you some context about an assumption around how the product workstream might respond to a feature request like that.
Another
Go ahead.
Go.
Oh no, I was going to say, yeah, that kind of like gets to, yeah, that's like the point. Like, people are used to, you know, the other projects having that password recovery thing where you have passwords, but obviously, you know, we're trying to go more of a route where you plug in your own wallet, you are the custodian of that, and ShapeShift does not have the access to send the reminders or emails or, you know, get in contact with the customer with saying it's been 40 days, you know, we haven't seen you change your password, because obviously we don't have access to that stuff. So yeah, I was just kind of thinking like that. I mean, it's good to have for those new users, and they might see the value in the wallets where maybe, you know, there's authentication happening on behind the scenes, and you know, the hashes are stored somewhere, but we really haven't found that path, or we're trying to change that path going forward. And so a good point, Willie. And go ahead, Fox. I know you have a good thought on this.
Totally. And agreeing with you, just the importance of like kind of community feedback, and just kind of like shameless plug to the product office hours too. Like that's something that we have now in the DAO that we did not have. Like we had product team had office hours in centralized ShapeShift, but of course only people who worked for ShapeShift could go to those. So having these open office hours where anyone from the community or even people outside of the community could still come and pitch ideas and possible integrations. And as the product team meets and works out our ideal roadmap, again, we're not deciding anything in a vacuum. We're constantly pitching that back to the community in these office hours and to anyone who will listen. So the feedback is much appreciated and essential, and such a huge differentiator from where we were in centralized ShapeShift. So, like, yes, the formal path is important, and I think that Hello Next is good. But also, come on into office hours and actually pitch us the idea, because I bet you'll be able to explain it a lot better than on a forum.
Well said, Fox.
Totally, absolutely will. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor McCarthy. And yeah, oh man, I had a cool thought to share, but I've totally lost it, and we're at the top of the hour, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody, for the great questions and contributions to this. And yeah, see you at the other DAO meetings, and I'll see you guys back here next week. GM, everyone.